Welcome once again to The Fire Within. I'm Joel Young, your host. This week we're visiting another one of the genuine entrepreneurs in the Okanagan Valley. Ashley Ramsay, co-owner and co-founder of Yeti Farm Animation based here in Kelowna. Thank you for coming, Ashley.
Thank you for having me, Joel.
I want to have a little talk with you about the roads that you've traveled since I've met you. And I think our viewers would find it interesting. When I first met Ashley, she was working, I think, on a contract basis with the Okanagan Film Commissioner, helping as an assistant to locations and other details for film production in the valley. And the second place that I met her was when she was working at Accelerate Okanagan, otherwise known as the Kelowna Innovation Center. Then, much to my surprise, one day I was reading in the newspaper, and there she was, Ashley and Todd Ramsay, Yeti Farm Animation. Well, that's not all, because since I first read that, and Ashley's going to tell us about it tonight, Ashley and her husband Todd have been reaching some excellent success levels. Let's talk about, from a twosome perspective, you and Todd, because we'll get to that in a moment. What is the genesis of the idea of Yeti Farm? Did it start with Todd, or did it start with both of you? May I ask that?
Sure. It genuinely did start with Todd. Todd launched his own business in 2007, and at the time it was the purpose of the business was to develop a client base that he could start working with while I went to work, because I worked as a producer, and you can't work as a producer out of house. And of course, with our first child, it just suited our lifestyle that he could be at home working with new clients from home. So that's where it started, and that was in 2007. And we knew that we would, within 5 years, have our own studio.
Oh, okay.
That was the goal. So we set a goal to reach that goal within 5 years. So we relocated to the Okanagan to achieve that goal in 2010.
Oh.
So it was always in the background.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question is, where did the two of you come from then?
Sure. Todd was born and raised in Kelowna, and I was born and raised in Victoria and Vancouver.
Okay.
Then my family moved me to Kelowna in high school, and we met in high school. So we're high school sweethearts.
Oh, for gosh sake. Well, there
And we've
you
been
go.
together for almost, 18 years now, or more.
Ashley, you're
So-
veterans.
Yeah, so we're really good buddies, and
Yeah,
we
good.
ended up by accident both being in animation. I was off doing my degree as a Bachelor of Fine Arts and going into teaching, and took a job at reception where he was working as an animator. He had graduated from Vancouver Film School, and I worked my way up from that point because I loved it so much, and that's sort of
Terrific.
where it all kind of came together.
I love it. You're answering a little bit of the next question I wanted to ask.
Sure.
And again, I'm asking this with Todd sitting beside you.
Sure.
And I understand for our viewing audience, just tonight, when Ashley arrived on set for this visit with us tonight, her husband Todd just returned tonight about 6:30 from a trade mission in Colombia, South America. So otherwise he'd be sitting with us tonight. So I'm talking to Ashley with Todd sitting beside her. Somewhat. How I want to try and voice this so it makes some sense. With the background that you have and the background that Todd has prior to him going into Vancouver Film School, with your backgrounds, what can you share with us? What motivated the two of you that drew you into this world of animation? Because every time I turn around, Ashley, here in the Okanagan, I'm hearing more and more. It's almost like a groundswell, a tsunami, if you will, about the animation industry here in the Okanagan Valley. How did your backgrounds, if at all, affect your decision for you and Todd to join animation?
Well, I think as an entrepreneur, you need to focus on the best skill set that you have, the strongest points that you have, and complement that with other team members to have success, really, because you can't do it all. So where we decided to focus was myself on the business side, to do with budgets, clients, schedules, crew, HR, bringing deals together, you know, and being on the floor with the crew in terms of coaching and things like that. I still run out and I grab the coffee and the cream and I get in the morning and I'm the mama at the studio.
I was going to Girl Friday.
Yeah, and Todd is very creative and very outward focused in terms of the team. So he is very hands-on coaching creatively so that we can achieve a quality level that's world class, above world class.
Terrific.
While I am making sure that we are, and just lending to your question about being in the Okanagan, we have to be efficient and think like manufacturers in terms of keeping things competitive, because we have an opportunity here to be competitive. We need to seize the opportunity and make sure that we take advantage of that, because we do have a lot of things working for us here, such as lower cost to do business,
Yes, exactly.
lower cost of living, a lot of tax incentives.
I was just going to say taxes. It was uppermost in my mind to mention the taxes.
Definitely.
That I hear all the time from the incomparable Okanagan Film Commissioner, John Summerlin, likes to remind me of the tax benefits.
Yeah,
How did you move from the original idea to what is a perceived opportunity for Yeti Farm?
We knew...
Because it started somewhere. There was the nucleus of an idea to say, we want to develop this studio in animation. This is Todd's passion already.
Yeah.
And you were finding yourself, as you've just said, growing to it, if I may say it that way.
I think we're both opportunists, and I'm probably much more so than Todd. I will jump a little farther than Todd will at most times. So we were waiting for the right opportunity in terms of timing, and I do believe in that what we project into the world comes back to us, and if we have a vision, we can make that happen. So with that vision, an opportunity came about, which was a contract with Electronic Arts, which was the initial catalyst.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Todd hustled and went, and I tasked him, because I was an employee of Accelerate Okanagan. I tasked him with getting the first 5 computers and finding the space.
Okay.
And then I said, and from that point, I will join you and be your employee.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but we knew that we were going to have to create something together, because it was only natural with both our backgrounds, 15 years in the industry, that it only made sense for us.
So I'm hearing you say, and I find exciting, because you were already a couple, you were already married.
Yeah.
It was a timing question.
Timing.
Timing,
Not if, but when.
Yeah, but when. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I think we just sort of spent time researching. It's almost like when people spend years making a business plan, we kind of knew the business plan, but it was a lot of market research, positioning, and that only can come from experience, feet on the street within a community.
Right. I'm interested on you sharing with our viewers tonight, what do you and Todd perceive as being your opportunity? You know, an opportunity recognition, if you will, if I can use that term for you. Because you just mentioned something that has really taken all of us in the Okanagan somewhat by storm. That is to say, Yeti Farm has grown.
Yes.
And has developed this relationship with Electronic Arts. Very nice contract, I might add.
The Atomic Cartoons one, yeah.
Yep. That's right, exactly. And all of a sudden we were saying, oh, look what's happening to them.
I think the opportunity is in the talent, for sure, because we've been seeing, again, like you said, the groundswell of animation, not only in the Okanagan, but if you think bigger, it's actually been happening in BC for the last 5 to 7 years, to be honest. So
primarily focused on the West Coast.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and the talent there has been being developed as we've been going along, but no one's really been watching for the tipping point.
Okay.
And so, having removed ourselves from the city, it's given us, I guess, if you will, a bird's eye view on what's happening there to seize the opportunity and see that there's a talent problem. And then secondly, researching about the benefits of doing business here.
What to date have been your most triumphant moments as an entrepreneur in the
Yeah.
Okanagan?
Well, a couple of things. I think the biggest thing is just launching to begin with, because here people talk a lot, but not really
Yes.
launch.
Well
So
said. Well said. I
when,
feel the same way.
and I'm bold and I'm blunt with that, but it's true. And we needed to jump off the cliff and prove that we could open our doors and have staff and make it work.
When did you officially launch Yeti Farm?
We officially launched November 21st last year.
Oh.
So just this past
Just-
week
yeah,
last year,
1 year.
we
Oh, okay.
signed the lease.
Oh, for heaven's
And we
sakes,
moved
yeah.
in December 1st.
And
And
you're located?
we are located on Ellis Street, just
Okay.
just downtown in
Yeah.
on 2
Upstairs?
floors.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
We've
that,
started
yeah.
with 1 floor with 12 people crammed into 1,000 square feet. Now we're going to be up to about 6,000 square feet.
Oh, that's terrific. I like this. And with how many staff?
And we have just put the final contract out for our 27th
Oh, terrific.
employee.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
In a year.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
That's exciting by itself.
Yeah.
Any additional exciting news that you can share with the viewers tonight? Because
teaming up.
tonight we're teaching our viewing
Definitely.
audience.
Yeah. You know, teaming up with Atomic Cartoons, who were already great friends of ours, we had a lot of respect for. When that came down the pipe, that really solidified, you know, our legitimacy. And then, you know, knowing why they did the deal with us, it wasn't about the talent or the tax credits or any of that. It was about hearing them say that it was about their trust in Todd and I.
Oh, yeah.
And
Perfect.
that
Yep.
itself really means a lot, coming
Yep.
from some guys that we really have a lot of respect for.
Oh,
So
yes, terrific. I feel kind of obliged to ask a textbook marketing question. So I'm going to do it. Is there a focus for market in the world of animation?
that's a very big question.
Well,
That's a very big question. Let me try and think about that one. Yeah, I think there's a few things happening. There's 2 major things happening in animation market right now that we are watching very closely. One of them is the boom and bust of the overseas studio as we know it.
okay.
So we've
okay,
seen,
okay.
over the last decade, we've seen studios in India, Russia, I mean, third world countries are now,
Coming on board.
that used to be, are now creating feature film quality for television, which
Okay.
has kind of upped the bar for everybody
I'll
and
bet,
the
eh?
pricing.
I'll bet.
But that being said, they've almost outgrown themselves, so the work's coming back to BC
Okay.
because there are quality issues. They've grown too fast, too big, too
Okay,
much.
okay.
So that's the first thing that's happening. And the second thing that's happening is cable television, CRTC regulations, bundling, all of that stuff we're hearing about where the consumer is going and what screen they're on is changing. And actually, it changed a long time ago. It's just that we're catching up. So
Catching up.
we're focusing on mobile markets for content for our longer term strategy. We don't even think about TV anymore.
I have to ask, what do you mean by mobile markets?
So we are focused on creating our own intellectual property for iPad,
Oh, okay.
shorts for YouTube.
Okay, good, terrific.
Netflix buys.
yes.
So Netflix will hopefully be one of our broadcasters in 3 years. We
Okay.
will not go to a broadcaster. So in terms of thinking for global markets, and back to your original question,
Yep.
those are the 2 major changes that we're seeing is that
Okay.
A, Canada can compete now, but B, you need to think outside the box, literally the television box.
Do you have any advice for existing entrepreneurs? I mean, albeit given the backgrounds of both you and Todd,
Yeah.
the fact still remains the 2 cornerstones of entrepreneurship being innovation and creativity.
Yeah.
There's no question that both you and Todd, because I know you a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
and I'm learning more and more all the time about your husband, Todd. With innovation and creativity akin to your world with Yeti Farm Animation, do you have any advice that you can give perhaps not just from a business perspective, but also maybe from a
Yeah.
pseudo-technical
personal.
perspective as well?
For anyone looking to get into this business, it's you have to have had some established roots already. But as an entrepreneur, honestly, the only thing that we stick to all the time is a vision. We are constantly evaluating the vision, reevaluating, and never get comfortable, because once you start to get comfortable, things start to fall apart. And
Slippage.
it's sad but true.
Yeah.
You can sort of sit back for a few days, but you can't really sit back for more than a week.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
So you kind of are on the wheel and you just don't get off.
You don't get off, yes.
And I think that's sort of the defining moment, is that when you embrace that and you recognize that that is part and parcel with your success, and that it's just part of the game, you'll be okay, I guess.
Are you and Todd finding that in the Okanagan, because we hear all the time, as I know you do, we've developed in the Okanagan a technology base.
Yeah.
And that's thrown around an awful lot, because there's different schools of thought on that. Because other people will say we're predominantly focusing on low tech, we have very little true high tech, theoretical high tech, mostly low tech, but the world keeps saying that the animation world is a good example. More and more people are developing, young people are developing skill sets in the world of animation, whether they're coming from other geographical locations, whether they're coming out of Cato, or they're coming out of university environment, and they've just developed that personal interest and passion over a period of their life, and they've carried this love of animation with them. But I'm wondering if you think that, taking a step back, if you think that in fact, the world of technology related to film and animation is becoming stronger and more prevalent in the Okanagan. Did I muddle you?
Yeah, that's another big question. I mean, I think we are definitely starting to see the makings of where Vancouver or smaller towns like out of Ottawa started.
Yeah.
And I think that it's part of the natural progression of any industry, which gets to a tipping point. It has to spill over into closer proximity places. So yeah, we are definitely experiencing that, and we're proud to be a part of sort of pioneering that here with other little studios like Hyper Hippo, Lance's thing. And
I'm looking forward to having a visit there too.
Yeah, and I think they're kind of coming up to their 25th employee as well. Before you know it, there'll be 25 here, 25 there, 25 there, and then all of a sudden we've got an industry of about 100 to 200 people or more.
That's really significant.
It just takes a few to go there, and I think we're 3 to 5 years out from it being
champion. Great as champion.
From it being legitimate. We need to prove ourselves. Yeah.
Talking with our personal friend John Summerlin, the Okanagan Film Commissioner.
Yeah.
He's been telling me that, as I'm sure he's been telling you, the interest in the Okanagan has now just gone beyond hearsay chit-chat over a cup of coffee.
Yes.
That there's genuine interest, and people are being drawn, producers from other jurisdictions are being drawn to the Okanagan because of the variety of things that we already talk about.
Yeah.
Tax benefits, and we have a reasonably decent pool of talent to draw from for production purposes, etc. And that's
true.
exciting. That's really exciting.
It is true. I mean, we had lunch with a studio from from way far away, and he's, we basically just flat out told him, if you want to play in the same sandbox, we'll play with you, and we will help you establish yourself here.
Good.
And we're happy to be the feet on the street for a studio like that we legitimately, enjoy their work. They have a great quality bar, and they're good people. And if those three things are in place, then let's team up and make it happen.
Ashley, before we say goodnight, one of the things that, and I unhesitatingly say this on camera, one of the things that we've talked about since I've been here in the Okanagan from Saskatchewan, which is 7 years. Within the first year that I lived here, we began to talk about having our own freestanding, independent studio. And then for the last year or so, I never heard much to, talk about it. I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off, talking to investors, angel investors, business people, and people in the industry about trying to light little fires
For a
to
film
generate
studio?
the interest for a film studio.
Yeah.
And when John Summerlin and I met the other day, we looked at each other and said, it's time. It's a time to try and beat the drum for us to have our own film studio in the Okanagan. So I'm hoping, for those of you out there in TV land who are watching our show tonight, if any of you are interested and have any capability to light the fire and fan the flames for a studio for film and animation in the Okanagan, please let us know. Ashley, I think we run out of time for tonight. Thank you so much for sharing with
Thanks.
us.
Thank you for
I
having
look
me.
forward to seeing you soon. Good night. That's it for Fire Within this evening. I'm Joel Young. Till next time. Good night.